In the heart of an ancient forest, where sunlight dappled through a thick canopy of leaves, lived a wild stallion named Soul. He wasn't just any horse. His coat shimmered like polished obsidian, and his spirit was as untamed as the wind that whispered through the pines. For generations, tales had been passed down among the forest creatures about a hidden waterfall, a place of myth and magic, said to hold the purest water in the world. But its location was a secret, lost to time. Soul, driven by a deep instinctual thirst and an unyielding curiosity, felt a pull towards this legend. The older horses in his herd warned him against the quest. They spoke of treacherous paths, misleading echoes, and the spirits that guarded the forest's deepest secrets. They were content with the familiar streams and rivers. But Soul was different. He believed that the greatest rewards lay just beyond the edge of the known world. His journey began not with a map, but with a feeling, a deep hum in the earth that only he seemed to notice. His first challenge was the Whispering Maze, a labyrinth of ancient, moss-covered trees whose branches twisted together, blocking out the sun. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. The whispers weren't just the wind. They were echoes of lost travelers, sounds designed to confuse and disorient. Other animals would panic, running in circles until they were exhausted. But Soul didn't fight the whispers. Instead, he closed his eyes and listened. He learned to distinguish the sound of the wind from the deceptive echoes. He focused on the subtle, steady murmur that lay beneath the chaos, the faint, distant promise of moving water. It was a test of patience, and Soul learned that sometimes the best way to find your path is to stand still and listen with your heart. Leaving the maze behind, he entered the Valley of Silence. Here, an unnatural quiet reigned. Not a bird sang, not a leaf rustled. The silence was heavy, pressing in on him, making his own hoofbeats sound like thunder. It was a place designed to amplify fear, to make one feel utterly alone. Loneliness began to creep into Saul's heart. He missed the comforting sounds of his herd, the nicker of his kin. For a moment, he thought about turning back. But then he remembered his purpose. To combat the silence, he began to make his own sounds. He whinnied, not in fear, but in defiance. He snorted, and the sound echoed back, a companion in the stillness. He learned that in the face of absolute silence, creating your own hope, your own noise, is a powerful act of courage. His journey then led him to the base of the Crystal Peaks, a range of mountains made of sharp, reflective rock that glittered under the sun. The path upward was steep and treacherous, littered with loose stones. The reflective surfaces played tricks on his eyes, creating mirages of water where there was only rock. Many times he stumbled, his hooves slipping on the smooth, unforgiving surfaces. Doubt, sharp as the stones beneath him, pricked at his resolve. Was this quest a fool's errand? Was he chasing a fantasy? He was tired, his muscles ached, and his thirst was immense. But as he looked down at how far he had come, a new strength filled him. He wasn't just climbing a mountain. He was climbing over his own limitations. Each step, no matter how small or difficult, was a victory. At the summit, exhausted but resolute, he found not a waterfall, but a small, clear spring bubbling from the rock. The water was cool and refreshing, but it wasn't the legendary cascade he sought. As he drank, a wise old eagle, who had been watching his ascent, landed nearby. The eagle spoke, its voice like the rustling of old leaves. "You have a strong spirit, stallion, but the waterfall you seek is not found by climbing higher. It is found by looking deeper." The eagle then gestured with its wing towards a narrow, almost invisible crevice on the other side of the peak, hidden behind a curtain of ivy. Soul understood. The final challenge wasn't about physical strength, but about perception, about seeing what was hidden in plain sight. He carefully made his way to the crevice. Pushing past the thick ivy, he was met with a gust of cool, misty air. The sound he had been chasing, the deep hum, was now a roaring symphony. He stepped through the opening, and his breath caught. Before him was a sight of breathtaking beauty. A magnificent waterfall cascaded down a wall of emerald green moss and vibrant flowers, plunging into a crystal-clear pool below. The water glowed with a soft, ethereal light, and rainbows danced in the mist. It was more magical than any legend had described. This was the Hidden Waterfall. The water was unlike any he had ever tasted. It was not just hydrating. It seemed to carry the life force of the forest itself, renewing his strength and spirit in an instant. As he stood there, mesmerized, Sol realized the true meaning of his journey. The waterfall was not just a destination. It was the culmination of everything he had learned. The patience from the whispering maze, the courage from the valley of silence, the perseverance from the crystal peaks, and the wisdom to look deeper. He had been so focused on the destination that he hadn't realized the journey itself was transforming him. He was no longer just a wild stallion. He was a guardian of this sacred place, a keeper of its secrets. Sol did not keep the waterfall to himself. He returned to his herd, not just as a member, but as a leader. He didn't just tell them the way. He guided them, helping them navigate the challenges he had overcome. He taught the young foals how to listen past the confusing whispers, how to find their own strength in silence, and how to persevere when the path is steep. The Hidden Waterfall became a source of life and renewal for the entire herd, its magic shared by all. And so, the legend of the Hidden Waterfall was reborn, but this time, it was not just a story about a place, but a story about the journey. It was the tale of a brave stallion named Sol, who proved that the greatest discoveries are not found on any map, but are forged within us through the courage to seek the unknown and the wisdom to understand that the path is just as important as the destination. His story became a whisper on the wind, a reminder that within every one of us lies a hidden waterfall, a source of incredible strength and magic waiting to be discovered. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring.